Let's talk about Salesforce. You know, your org is this incredible engine, right? But what's the fuel? It's your data. If you get that right, your business just takes off. But if you get it wrong, well, you're not going anywhere. So today, we're going to master that fuel.
And you've got to ask yourself this question, seriously. Is your data an asset or is it a liability? Because bad data means your sales reps are calling dead numbers, your marketing emails are just bouncing into the void, and your big forecasts, they're basically fiction. Good data, though, that's your secret weapon. It's what lets your teams make those really smart, game-winning decisions.
You know, the secret isn't just about having a bunch of tools. It's about knowing exactly which one to grab for the job at hand. So in the next few minutes, we're going to build out your essential data toolkit. We'll cover getting data in, keeping it clean, and getting it out safely. Let's start right at the front door. Okay, first up, importing. You've got a spreadsheet. It's packed with fresh leads, maybe some account updates. How do you get that into Salesforce without just making a complete mess? Well, you've got two main tools you're going to reach for. I want you to think of it like this. The Data Import Wizard, that's your friendly guide. It's going to hold your hand through the whole process. Data Loader, on the other hand, is your heavy-duty multi-tool. It gives you raw power and a ton of flexibility. So how do they really compare?
The differences are pretty huge when you look at them side by side. First off, just the sheer scale. The Wizard caps out at 50,000 records, while Data Loader can handle a whopping 5 million. If you need to automate your imports on a schedule or save those complicated field maps for next time, that's Data Loader's turf, no question. But, and this is a big one, the Wizard has a really cool trick up its sleeve. It lets you choose to bypass workflow rules. That can save you from a crazy flood of email alerts when you're just doing a simple import.
So when do you pick the Wizard? You use it for those smaller, one-off jobs where you just want a simple, guided path. Think about a sales rep uploading a list of contacts they got from a trade show. That's a perfect use case. You get the data in fast, and you can tell it, hey, skip the automated welcome emails, which keeps everyone's inbox from exploding. So when do you bring out the heavy machinery? You use Data Loader for the really mission-critical stuff. We're talking about massive system migrations, huge data cleanup projects, or maybe those nightly integrations that have to run like clockwork. If you need to move hundreds of thousands of records, or if you need to touch any object in your org, Data Loader is the only way to go. It's non-negotiable. All right, here's a classic pro tip that can save you a massive headache. Picture this. You want to erase the fax number for thousands of contacts. So you upload a file and you just leave that column blank. Well, by default, Data Loader is just going to ignore it. You have to explicitly check that little insert null values box to tell it, no, I'm serious. I really want to wipe that data out. It's a tiny little checkbox with huge consequences. Getting your data in is really only half the battle. Now we've got to protect it. It's time to meet the gatekeepers. These are the tools that act like your database's bouncers, you know? They make sure only clean, quality data gets past the velvet rope. So here they are, your three main gatekeepers. First, you've got duplicate rules. They stop those pesky redundant records right at the door. Then you have validation rules. Think of these as your quality checklist, making sure data meets your standards, like forcing a phone number to be in the right format. And finally, you've got pick lists, which are awesome for getting rid of typos by just giving users a preset list of options. Now, speaking of pick lists, there's this one special setting you absolutely need to know about, unrestricted. See, normally, a pick list is a locked-down, specific list, but if you uncheck one tiny little box when you're setting it up, you create this sort of backdoor, specifically for API tools like Data Loader. And here's the crucial catch, so listen close. When you use Data Loader to push a new value into that unrestricted pick list, sure, the value sticks, but only to that one specific record. It does not get added to the main list for other users to pick from later. It's a one-time exception. It's a powerful feature for sure, but man, it can cause some serious confusion in your reports if you don't know what's happening. Here's another one of those little admin tricks that'll save you a ton of time. You know when you need to update records owned by someone who's left the company? The old way was a pain. You had to temporarily reactivate their license. The new way? Just go into Setup and enable the Update Records with Inactive Owner's permission. It's a simple flip of a switch that saves you both time and license costs. So we've gotten our data in and we're keeping it clean. The last piece of this puzzle is getting it back out, either for a report or, more importantly, as a safety net, just in case things go wrong. You've basically got three core options here, and each one is for a different job. You need to pull a specific set of data for a report right now? Use Data Loader. Want a free, scheduled, full system backup? That's what the data export service is for. But for that premium, automated, daily backup with a super easy restore process, you're going to want to look at Salesforce Backup. But what about the ultimate oops moment? Accidental deletion. Well, when a user deletes a record, it doesn't just vanish into thin air. It goes to the recycle bin, and you've got a 15-day window to go in there and save it before it's gone forever. So how do you actually get them back? Well, if it's just a few records, it's easy. You just click the undelete button in the recycle bin. But what happens if a user accidentally deletes thousands of contacts? That's a job for Data Loader. You use its Export All feature to pull the IDs of all those deleted records, and then you run an upsert to bring them all back from the dead.
And here's one last critical number to burn into your brain: 48. When you run that free data export service, Salesforce generates your backup file. You have exactly 48 hours to download it. If you miss that window, the file is just gone. You have to wait for the next weekly or monthly run. Seriously, set a calendar reminder for that one.
Okay, deep breath. We've covered a ton of ground. So let's pull this all together and take a look at your complete, essential data management toolkit. The main thing to remember here is that for every single data challenge, there's a specific tool for the job. You've got the wizard for the simple stuff, Data Loader for the heavy lifting, rules to keep your quality high, and export services to act as your safety net. Mastering your Salesforce data isn't about knowing every single detail. It's about knowing which tool to reach for and when. And that brings us to the most important part, really. I'm going to leave you with this question. What's the very first step you're going to take? Are you going to go build that new validation rule you've been thinking about? Finally plan that duplicate cleanup project you've been putting off? Or maybe just schedule your first data export so you can sleep a little better at night. Think of one small thing you can do today to make your data just a little bit better. Thanks for joining me.